Alright. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Tight, tight, tight. Great. Picked up where we left off, I'm thinking. Alright, dope. I can hear myself. I'm good. Okay, so I'm back. I'm back. My bad. What's up, Almighty? What's up, Manny? What's up, JKS Geico? What's up, guys? How are you guys doing? Yes, I am. Just call me Speedy Gonzalez because I fixed this shit. But, like, I didn't really fix it. So, no, but, whatever. What's up, Nathaniel? Manny, it's always good to see you. Yeah, I think I said hello already. Let me tell you, boys, it's been a real struggle getting all this shit to be okay. And we're still not quite there, but you know what? I think we'll get there eventually, maybe one day. I don't know. So yeah, we're just gonna head on in this. As you can see, I'm fucking alone. I'm alone. Yes, yes. Manny, I did take some compound V. I just snorted it and I was just like, yeah, we're going. I'm good. Let's go. Yeah, King Thrash. I heard that he was having issues with it. I've seen other people struggle with it, so we're all in this together. We're just all in this together, just trying to figure out how this stuff works. All Most of us not technically inclined, but whatever. Dude, I might have to get a better computer. Like, I don't want to have to spend more money than I need to. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, but I don't even know what a good price range is and what the specs I need to look for to make sure shit's like okay. And I don't know, JK's guy code. It just got fucking axed. It's just like, bye. They're just like, you know what? Fuck content creators. Oh, I might get in trouble for saying that, but whatever. My channel has already been. It's already been just. It's already been like taken a picture of. They're like, listen, my videos are automatically like. They already automatically get that yellow dollar sign on it or whatever. It's just like, this is restricted access. We know what you're up about. Like, we know what you're doing. This is just not advisable for advertisers, ma'am. And I'm just like, okay. So it's pretty much a wrap for me in this channel, I'm thinking. I don't even know what I did. I don't know what I did. So, what's up, Squeamish? But yes, I would never do that to you, Manny. Or maybe I would. But yeah, no, I mean, I've been talking to a bunch of, like, PC guys. So yeah, I mean, Okay, but let's talk about the boys. Okay, so this is all spoilers all the time. We are spoiling the entirety of the boys. Okay? So don't even just let the spoilers reign free in the comment section and the chat. I appreciate you guys coming through for this little impromptu show. So Novat says, okay, the boys did the impossible and made a scene with a character I hate legitimately hard to watch. I know exactly what you're talking about. The Gills? The Gills? Alright, see you later, JK's Guy Code. Listen to it when you're done with the show. But yeah, listen, The Gills. Yeah, so what's up, Anime List? And no, it is on Amazon Prime. Just sign up for the 30-day trial and just watch it because all 8 episodes are up, and then skedaddle. Yeah. So yeah, we are spoiling the entirety of the Boys TV show. I might mention some things from the comic in terms of how they differ, but you know. But yeah, yes, the Boys was fine. Okay, so we're gonna go by it first by talking about the Boys, and then we'll talk about the Seven, and then we'll talk about any extraneous uh, characters, and just you know, I guess the Vought Corporation as well. But overall, so let's talk with our main pro. Let's start with our main protagonist, Huey. I think his last name's Campbell. Huey Campbell. Yeah, I don't remember what his fucking last name is. I saw what you said, BitCloud, but whatever. So Huey is just like, and we went over this a little bit on the first episode, spoiler thing for the Boys, but Huey is just like this really timid, really quiet guy, and getting to watch his progression throughout the series, which when it comes to the Boys, for the most part, their main motivation seems to be fueled by vengeance in a way. So when Billy was talking to Mother's Milk, he mentioned that something had happened before with MM. And so I'm assuming that something happened with MM's one of his family members or maybe one of his friends, which is why he's so inclined to be a part of the group, despite lying to his wife and his daughter about everything, which I personally would never, ever do something like that. But, whatever. Um, what's up, Anthem? Not so great. How are you doing? So, there has to be like a deep seated reason as to why someone like Mother's Milk would completely risk and jeopardize his marriage and his family life to be a part of this group led by someone who is not really a good guy. I think that when it comes to this show, all these characters have established some very, very selfish traits, and I think that's what ties them together ultimately. And I guess it's just human nature in general. We're just selfish people, but it really started to sink in and cement for me as the series continued to go on. So Huey, even though he seemed, and by all accounts, was a really timid guy, you know what they say, always watch out for the quiet ones. And it really started when he killed Translucent. Like, he didn't have to kill Translucent right there. So, but he did. I mean, technically he did have to kill him, and I was just kind of like, Huey, listen, he was gonna murder you and Billy, so it is what it is, my guy. Like, you did what you had to do, but to just push that button and watch him explode into all those pieces, and then you could see him decompressing throughout that scene as well. Yeah, really just watching Huey's development over the season has been very interesting, and it's just like, he used Starlight. Like, he 100% used her, and sure, he seemed like he had a bit of remorse about it, but he didn't actually seem like he felt bad enough to not do what he was doing. And I can understand where he was coming from, given the fact that, that's a lot of grief and that's a lot of anger to just take in. And yeah, what's up, Bray? What's up, Drabanero? What's up, Neo? Not yet, Anthem. Not so great. Not yet. So yeah, I completely understand where Huey's coming from, but the fact that he used Starlight just shows that it's been in him this entire time. It just, something extremely drastic had to happen for that side of him to come out. So yeah, I really like by the end of the series that Huey is just kind of like, you know what, anger begets anger, vengeance does nothing for me. And he mostly saw that through the eyes of Billy. Like, he's like, shit, man, Billy is a fucking mess. And he saw it with Mother's Milk, a mess. Everyone that he was, his two primary connections, which were Mother's Milk and Billy when it came to the boys. They were both so obsessed with this quest for vengeance that they completely disregarded their personal lives and the importance of the people in their lives. You know, Billy with his wife's sister and his wife's family, and then Mother's Milk with his wife and his daughter, which I'm still blown away by the fact that he actually chose to lie to his wife and put himself in danger and put her and their kid in danger, knowing that what the Supes are capable of. Like, their last boss, Mallory, her grandchildren were burned alive by the lamplighter because they got too close, and Mother's Milk still came back and got involved with Billy and the boys again. So yeah, that's Laz Alonso. So yeah. What's up, Van? What's up, Spartan God? What's up, Dion? Oh, nice, Dion. Binging it, so yeah. So I found Huey's progression to be very interesting, and I was like, okay, I can understand where he's coming from. And at the end of the series, where he chooses to save A-Train and ask Starlight to save him as well, I was like, listen, Huey, I would have let him die personally, because he was never gonna stop chasing you, and I think it's dumb to keep him alive. But you know what? Kudos to you, man. Like, you've really grown. Too bad it took you murdering someone and lying to a really sweet girl for you to get there. Sucks to suck, I guess. Ugh. So let's talk about Billy. Now, Carl Urban is fucking amazing. Like, I love him. Okay, he's so hot, and he's just very talented, and I like fucking diabolical. Like, I love it. I'm just loving it. Like, it was amazing. But I have to say that he really like encapsulated that character, because Billy Butcher is not a good guy. He is a fucking scumbag. I think it cannot be understated that Billy Butcher blew up a fucking baby. Like, are we gonna talk about this? Like, are we gonna talk about the fact that he blew up a baby? Billy Butcher blew up a fucking baby. Okay? And no, I didn't, Anthem Not So Great, because brief spoiler alert for season 2, possibly. And what's up, Neo? What's up, Hydra Comics? Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I'm hoping that Stillwell, given that she was a scumbag herself, that she had the foresight to be like, listen, I'm gonna inject my own baby with this Compound V, just in case, okay? Oh, and Breakout Kings was a good show. I do recall that, yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, it's super dope. Yeah, he blew up a baby. And no one seems to be talking about the fact that there was a baby that he blew up. Yeah, and that was I'm saying it's her actual baby because she was breastfeeding, and I'm doesn't that change only happen if you've actually given birth to a baby? So yeah. Yeah, he definitely blew that fucking baby up. Like, I mean, like, it cannot be understated. And he was so entrenched with his obsession with getting to Homelander that he just didn't care who he hurt in the process. And he just clearly he didn't care about the boys, like, or maybe he just cared about his vengeance just a little bit more, because he left them to die or be trafficked off to the government, and he just was like, I'm gonna keep going. He kidnapped Stillwell, he fucking just strapped her in with some dynamite, and he was like, listen, fucking diabolical, mate, and he blew that fucking baby up. He blew the baby up, man. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I just don't know. And what's up, Chris? And yeah. Yeah. So I thought Billy Butcher was a really interesting character. Honestly, kind of irredeemable. There's like really no redeeming qualities about him other than the fact that he's a very charming guy, and that's kudos to Carl Urban's acting, obviously. But yeah, just no redeeming qualities. I found it very interesting when Mallory played that video of him, of his wife going into the hotel room with the Homelander, and then coming out a few hours later looking a bit disheveled and off. But overall, let's talk about this for a second. Okay, let's just let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about the end credit scene or the ending scene with Homelander, Billy's wife, and Homelander's kid, and Billy. So yeah, honestly, I've read the comic, or at least some of the comic. So finding out that Billy's wife was alive was a real shock to me. I definitely did not see that coming. And Neo, I 100%, I agree with you, Neo. I don't think she was raped either. I really don't think that. Or, not, and Dion, I agree with you as well. And Greg, what's up? How's it going? Yeah, no, I think that especially after the scene where you see it's Billy's first interaction with the Homelander, I think it was a consensual scene between Homelander and Becca, who is Billy's wife. I think they had consensual sex. And then I think Homelander's like, oh, I can't get you pregnant, so it's fine. And she got pregnant, and she ended up feeling really guilty. So she went to Vought, and she's like, listen, your star hero impregnated me. I need help. They delivered the baby safely, and then they like spirited her and that kid away, and that was the end of it. And it's just like, in the comic, Homelander raped Becca, so they were drawing from that source material. And then in the comic, Becca died when the baby was trying to like be born. So that's all that stuff, that premise, that idea is from the comic. So since I had read the comic, I was just like, yeah, she's dead. He raped her and she's dead. Like, I believe that. So yeah, so I think that it was consensual between Becca and Homelander, and if that's the case, I would actually find that more interesting than if Homelander just raped her, because that would just make Becca a fucking scumbag. That would make her a scumbag, and I'm just like, ugh. And I like the idea of that, because it would just say like all of Billy's vengeance was for nothing. He blew a baby up for no reason whatsoever. So yikes. But I think reading the comic did benefit in the sense that I didn't see so many plot points coming, because I was like, oh, this is not in the comic. This is so different from the comic. And I definitely, but personally speaking, I feel like the TV show is a better is a better medium than the comic is. It was a very good adaptation, and the changes that they made fit the story and they made sense, because to be fair, I feel like in the comics the characters are so cartoonishly evil that it's hard for me to like feel anything. I guess I'm just kind of like, oh, this is just another gory scene, it's another shock scene. It's just kind of like, okay, I get it, like da da da, this is a crude scene, crude joke. I understand. Like, I was so desensitized by the time I got further into the comic. I just didn't care about any of the scenes I was seeing. I was just like, whatever, man. So yeah. And Anthem Not So Great says, the Homelander's actor was fucking great. You never knew if he was going to intimidate someone or kill them outright. I agree. He was so talented, and I was just so impressed by his acting. Yeah, like I was honestly, Manny, I was waiting for him to try to kill that baby too, which made me so uncomfortable. I don't like seeing any violence against children, so I was just like, ugh. But I would say watch the TV show, because the TV show is better than the comic, in my opinion. It's like, in my honest opinion, the TV show is better. So that was some good shit. But then there's Frenchie and the female, and their stories seem to intertwine. So I genuinely liked Frenchie. I had to turn on subtitles though to understand what the fuck he was saying. Like, I was like, what is he saying? So yeah, other than that, I liked his character. I thought he was like, he was so, all the characters were so dynamic and so layered. So I thought his interactions with the female were very sweet, but I also liked his interactions with Mother's Milk. And Mother's Milk is just like, you're just a selfish fuck. And I just feel like that's fun, because there's so much hypocrisy there, because Mother's Milk is also a selfish fuck, and it seems like they are just unaware that they're all just terrible people. They are awful people. But like I said, I really liked Frenchie's interactions with the female and seeing the humanity there. And I like that, the female turned out, her name's Kimiko, and she's just trying to get back to her brother. And who knows what the hell they did to her other than, like, injecting her. I think that compound V is supposed to make, if it's injected into humans, supposed to make you even more crazy. So, Yeah, Neo. When he refused to take the baby upstairs, I was like, nope, she's dead. He's looking to let him blow it up. Yep, that's true. And Novat says Black Noir was surprisingly funny. Yeah, I liked Black Noir. So Chris says the fish man was nasty. Yeah, yeah, he did say that. He did say go fuck a whale in the blowhole. Yikes. Yeah, that's probably something um the Deep has done before, given his little scenes with a couple of the animals in there. But whatever. So yeah, and I think I said everything I need to say about the boys. Honestly speaking, listen, I'm just gonna put it out there. I thought the boys were the weakest part of the show. Uh, the Supes were just so much more interesting, and I just like them. I like them so much more, and it's really unfortunate because the show is literally called The Boys, but it's like I just found so much more interest in the Supes in general. So yeah, man. Yeah. Okay. So which soup should I talk about first? Should I talk about Starlight because she starts it out, or should I talk about Homelander, or should I talk about Maeve? Like, who should I talk about first? Because let me tell you, all these characters were just so great and so interesting. I like them so much. Hmm. What do you guys want? Mesmer? Maybe they could make him. Yeah, that's a good point, Dion. I have no idea. I have no idea where they're gonna go with this. What's up, concussions? You've missed a discussion about the boys in general. I went through each of the boys, talked a little bit about them and their character arcs, the progression. And that was fun. So you guys want me to talk about A Train? Let me tell you, Discord is pretty cool, guys. Oh man. All right. All right. Let's talk about the seven and go through them one by one. So we'll start with Starlight. So I would have to say that Starlight is my second favorite character in the show. She is so great. I love the actress who played her, super fine, as the first thing I want to say. But I feel like she genuinely portrayed that like wide-eyed naivete, but also like that straight, that like that inner strength, as the series progressed. She started off as someone who allowed herself to be taken advantage of and coerced into doing something she didn't want to do, and then she was able to eventually stick up for herself, speak up for herself, and that's not something it seemed I didn't get the impression that she was able to do that before. Like when she talked to her mom about how her mom basically she sold her. Like, she sold her to the Vought Corporation. And she talked about how she didn't have a childhood, and that's why she's so fucked up and doesn't understand what kind of person she wants to be. I was like, I get that, girl. Like, I get that. I'm there with it. So I thought that was just really interesting character progression for her. So in episode 1, it starts off with Starlight. You know, she gets brought into the Seven, and she becomes really disillusioned real quick about the truth of the Seven when the Deep coerces her into performing oral sex on him, with threats like, oh, well, he says, oh, you attacked me, so I'm going to tell them that, and then you're also going to go back to being nothing. And it worked on her, and it really fucked her up. And I think it's going to affect her for the rest of the series, which I'm totally down with. But I'm glad that it was established real quick early on that she wouldn't allow herself to continue being taken advantage of. She stood up to the Deep. She was like, go fuck yourself. You try to touch me again, I'll hurt you. And he backed down, as bullies often do when someone sticks up to them. So I like that in the beginning she allowed Vought to put her in that hooker outfit, basically. And she was like, okay, this is for the ratings, this is for the all this stuff. I mean, she was a pageant girl, so I've been under the impression that she's used to being in the spotlight and she's used to doing things that she doesn't want to do. She's like 5'4" or 5'6" or something like that, and she's like 110 pounds, which is vastly underweight for her height range. I just want to put that out there. But it makes sense because, you know, her mom was in the first episode was like, oh, are you sure you want to eat that? And, you know, like stuff like that, just little tidbits to her past gives you an idea what kind of person she is. And the fact that she was able to finally speak up for herself, I love that change from in the comics, because in the comics she never said anything about what happened to her, and what happened to her was with way more people. Yeah, but with this she was like, you know what, I'm gonna speak up and I'm gonna say something. Unfortunately, Vought turned that into a like, oh, okay, well, she was assaulted, but like a phoenix, she rose from the ashes. And I'm like, oh, God. They really got you, girl. Like, they really did. So, I mean, it was just an unfortunate situation all around, and she was able to look past that and move past that, and I appreciate that about her character. It sucks that she got used by Huey. I'm gonna keep it real with you, Chief. That fucking sucks. She was vulnerable, and he was like the only person who was being nice to her at the time, which is why she fell for him, really. Like, and it turns out he's kind of a dickhole who used her, and she seems like she had forgiven him at the end and decided to help him out. But I really hope they don't continue to pursue a relationship, romance or otherwise. Honestly speaking, I kind of feel like Huey sleeping with her is a little weird. I'm like, bro, listen, I understand that Robin would want you to move on and be happy, but she literally died like 2 months ago. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So, I don't know, man. What's up, Terrence? Yeah, I agree, Dion. She is a contrast with her against all the other Supes, because you can see that she's just actually she's a good person. She is a good person in comparison to the rest of these guys. And I mean, there are some other ones who are good as well. Kind of. I don't know if good is the word I'd use. I mean, they are, at the end of the day, they are superpowered, but they are human. You know, they're still human. They're just people who were given these powers as babies. Actually, you know what? They might. I mean, there's a slight spoiler there, but anyways, we'll go with they were given these powers as babies, and at the end of the day, essentially, they are human. So, you know, they still have the same human wants and the same human needs and all of that stuff. So I'm just kind of like, yeah, like, we're all good and we're all evil. You know, Lila said that in Dexter season 2. Shout out to Dexter season 2. That was the best season of the show. And it just really shows, like, that we are layered, and just because someone is a fucking scumbag in one regard doesn't mean they're a scumbag in every single regard. You know what I mean? So, what's up, the real Kool-Aid man? And yeah, it's only on Amazon. Yeah, they're all very gray. They're all gray. So, but yeah, let's talk about the Deep. The Deep is a fucking weirdo, honestly. First episode, like I said before, He ties in with Starlight's character. He coerces her into giving him oral sex. From what Madeline Stillwell, aka who's running the Supes, basically, what she said was that this isn't the first time that he has sexually assaulted a girl, and she's had to cover up his other instances. Which, how true to life is that? Like, okay, my big celebrity is a fucking scumbag sexually assaulting people, but that's fine as long as he keeps making me money. We'll just cover it up. Like, that's so true to life. And honestly, the Deep is a fucking loser. Like, he is a loser, and he really embodies that, like, negative Aquaman stereotype that they were pushing throughout the years. Because, like, oh, Aquaman, you talk to fish, like, you're a fucking loser, basically. And he is, unlike Aquaman, who I think is amazing, the Deep is a fucking loser, dude. Like, he's just L after L after L after L with this guy. Like, he really wants to be taken seriously and to really progress further in his career, but he's insecure because of his body, and he's insecure because of his powers. He's just insecure because he's been told straight out, like, you're just the diversity hire. You're nothing. You know, you're nothing important. So yeah, so we can talk about how his story progressed. So since Starlight publicly admitted that she was sexually assaulted, the Deep had to give a public apology, and he's like, I thought it was consensual, you know, that kind of nonsense that they say in the media or whatever, like, you know, make themselves look okay. They you know, spirited him away to this fucking small, lame ass small town where there's no crime, so he can just hide off and they can just forget about him. And he's just there, and he's miserable because they're not, like, doing anything with him. And then he meets a girl, one of his fans, and she turns out to be, like, a psycho fan. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. And the Deep end, I mean, she's like, oh, is it true about your body? I've heard rumors. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, can you show me? He's like, all right, sure. So he shows her. He's really insecure about it, and it turns out he's got these gills. I'm gonna keep it real with you, Chief. Those gills looked really cool. I was like, oh, that looks so cool. But then it got weird real fast. It got weird real fucking fast. And I was like, oh. And she, like, you know, she sat on his lap, and she started stabbing her finger into his fucking gills, and that shit was fucking weird. It was weird. And I was just like, oh my god, ow. And he was like in visible pain. He was like, it hurts, stop it, it hurts. And I was just like, what? And honestly, I'm not trying to dismiss what happened to him, but I was very confused as to why he didn't just push her the fuck off. Given the kind of waters he's been in and the pressure that's on his skin, it's not like he's strong enough to have pushed a human woman off. I was confused. So, you know, I talked to my friend about it. She was like, oh, you know, and I was like, is it the insecurity? Is it just, did he not push her off because he was insecure about himself and he felt like he deserved to be punished, and therefore he allowed her to continue doing that weird fucking shit? Like, she was literally stabbing her fingers into his gills as she was masturbating on top of him, and then she was calling him all these vile names, and I was like, what's happening? Like, it was weird, you know, it was fucking weird. So, and then, yeah, she was like, you're gonna take it, and oh my god, it was just so vile. It was just so vile, and I was just like, this is disgusting. And I felt bad for him, but I was, like I said before, I was also confused. I was like, bro, why didn't you just push her off? Like, really? And then, but at the same time, she could have turned it into I wish they had explored this a little bit more in terms of why he, like, left her there, because she could have turned it into oh, even though he just apologized, he assaulted me sort of thing. So I thought would have been interesting too. So overall, the Deep is a fucking loser. He, like, not because of what happened to him, but just because he is a bully who sexually coerces women into doing favors for him, and he's a coward. And he definitely, like, bent the knee when the Homelander was like, what's good, Chief? And he's like, yeah, nothing's good. Let me just apologize for even thinking I could exist in the same orbit as you. So yeah, it was. I definitely cringed. I thought it was disgusting. So, all right, but yeah, let's talk about Queen Maeve. I love her. She's amazing. She's great. I like her so much more than how she was in the comics. In the comics, she was just a straight ass fucking cold ass bitch. But in the show, she's got layers. She's layered, which is, I cannot stress enough how much better I find these characters in the TV show in comparison to how they are in the book. Because in the book, Queen Maeve was even more of a mess than she is now, but in the show, she is a redeemable mess. So let's talk about Queen Maeve and her relationship with the Homelander. So with Maeve, all right, Queen Maeve. So Queen Maeve and Homelander had a relationship before. It's stated by him. And she, at least in the comics, she's very close to Homelander in terms of power level. They nerfed her in the show. So in the comics, she's able to fly, but in the show, it's like, nah, bitch, you can't fly. But the reason they made it so she couldn't fly was because it leads credence to a very important scene that happens later on during the show. And that scene is the airplane scene, which is a spin off a scene that happened in the comics called Herogasm, where it's the hero's first, like, real outing, and it's during 9/11, and they try to stop terrorists, and it ends up being a real bad time, like a real disaster. So they have a plane crash in the comic as well, and they just do a little twist on it and make it more modern when it comes to the TV show. And so Queen Maeve and Homelander, they go to this plane because Madeline Stillwell who is the head of Vought. She is trying to convince the military to allow Supes into the military. And the military is like, we definitely don't fucking want that. So she goes to Homelander. She goes to Maeve. She's like, hey, can you guys go stop these terrorists? And understandably, Stillwell's probably like, this should be a fucking in and out job. There's Supes. What could go wrong? Everything went fucking wrong. It was bad. It was a real disaster. So Homelander, who I think he did it on purpose. This petty ass bitch was feeling mad because Stillwell wasn't giving him any attention. You know, she was paying too much attention to her actual child. But, you know, we will get into that dynamic soon. And he was like, you know what? I'm just going to make shit harder. And I'm going to fucking blow this plane up. And fuck it. Like, I'm out. So he accidentally destroys the console for the plane. And the plane starts going down. And he and Maeve are on this plane with dozens of people who they promised that they would save, and he's just like, we can't save them, so let's just go. And Maeve's like, what the fuck? You can't go out there and stop the plane? You can't grab onto it? And he's like, nah, I would just fly through it or something. Like, I don't know the physics and dynamics that actually go into this, because I've seen Supergirl and Superman do this shit, but allegedly, or apparently, they wouldn't actually be able to stop a plane like that. I don't know. Like, I really don't know. So, yes, Terrence, watch it again. It's so good. But yeah. Yeah, I genuinely felt Maeve's pain, Anthony, not so great. Like, I loved it. Like, it was amazing. And, yeah, Homelander didn't fucking try. She's like, why don't you just fly in and out with the people and save all of them? He's like, man, that's so dumb. And I'm like, bro, you could have done it. Like, he could have done that, but he didn't want to do it. He was being a petty ass bitch, and he was being lazy. So he's like, Maeve, let's go. And she's like, bro, can you at least take the kids? And he's like, nah, chief. They're witnesses. They're gonna see what we did, and can't have that. So all of them gotta die. And it was just, you know, just watching that, the daughter and the mother beg, and then all those people beg for them to not leave them, and Homelander's like, get the fuck away from me or I'll laser all of you, like that crazy shit, right? And like, he's like, Maeve, let's go. And he's like, do you want to die with these people? And you could tell, like, then already that he looks down so much on people who don't have powers, and actually other Supes as well. But he has like a modicum of like respect for Maeve, because like I said before, she's the only one to talk straight to him because her powers are near his level, not at his level, but near his level enough where he's like, I have respect for you because you're closer to my level than the rest of these guys are. So yeah, Neo was definitely said like, fuck them kids, you know. It wouldn't take too long, Jonas. He has super speed. It would have been fine. You know. So. Oh, yeah, Anthony, not so great. I love that, too. I will get to Homelander in a second. But, yeah, the reason why Homelander is so great is because he's just amazing when it comes to acting. So, you know, and then you continue seeing Maeve's progression. She's an alcoholic. I guess she's a closeted bisexual woman. I don't know what that intention was, since she was in a relationship with Homelander. That might have been like a PR thing, because, you know, it would make sense, especially when she was more popular when she was younger, that their two most popular Supes would be in a relationship together, would spike up, like their numbers would spike. So, that makes sense. But yeah, turns out she is a closeted woman on the LGBT spectrum, and she seemed like she had a really deep relationship with this other woman who was angry at her for Maeve for leaving or something. I don't know what the fuck happened there. I'm thinking that Homelander might have like threatened Maeve's girlfriend, like subtly, how he does. But I'm not sure with that. Oh, what's up, Carlos? Let me read these comments. Yeah. So Carlos says translucent got a rear end finish. Yeah, and then Neo says the scene where they are on the Middle East when he literally crushed the guy's head under his boot. He sees everyone as bugs. That's facts. The guy who played him killed it. Jonas said, I agree. Terrence says Anthony Starr is perfect for Homelander. I agree. I need to see Banshee. I agree. Yeah, and Novat said if Homelander could save Butcher from the point blank explosion, he could have saved those people. That's a fact, bro. Oh, and Manny says he calls people mud people. That's interesting. I do recall that briefly. I like those little throw-ins or whatever. So, Maeve is just like a really interesting character, and you could like they made her so much more sympathetic in the show than they did in the comic. She was even kind to Starlight and stood up to Homelander for Starlight, and no one else in the show has been able to do that. All of them are definitely afraid of him. At least we've seen it with Starlight, the Deep, and A-Train are so afraid of Homelander, and it was just amazing to see Maeve actually step up for him and say, like, Starlight had nothing to do with this, she's just dumb. And I'm like, yeah, I agree, she is just dumb. And I'm happy that she actually stuck up for her, but, like, good luck, Maeve, because Homelander did say, you better fucking hope she's right, for your sake as well as hers. And I was like, ew. So, we'll see how that story continues to play out, and I hope Maeve, as like Starlight, chooses to actually go into the light and be a beacon of hope instead of this depressed alcoholic that she's turned into. So, and then Anthony Not So Great mentions Maeve's ex's line of, I left your life, you never left mine, I see your face every day. Yep. And then Lionel, what's up, Lionel says, one thing about Homelander I notice is he's suspect about everyone. He's a mastermind and a manipulator. Yeah, he is amazing. Manny, the only one who doesn't let Homelander down is Black Noir. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, the comic is it's real graphic. So we're gonna skip over Homelander for now because I want to fucking talk about the rest of these guys right before I get to Homelander, because Homelander is my favorite character in the entire series. But Black Noir really didn't have much to do except for these tiny scenes here and there. I love his costume design for the TV show over the comic, and I'm really interested to see what they do with him throughout the seasons. I wonder if they're going to keep the same plot points when it comes to Black Noir. I kind of hope so, because I think it would be funny. But I'm very interested to see where he goes. But honestly, given how amazing the show is and how they've changed the characters for such, well, not positive, but like in comparison to the comic, the comics, they're all like, their baseline comic counterparts are pale in comparison to how amazing they are in the show. So I'm really interested to see where they take Black Noir's storyline. We'll go with Translucent as well. That actor who plays Translucent, super fucking hot. I was like, oh, it sucks that he's dead. But Translucent seemed like a real scumbag who was only concerned about his numbers and his popularity and peeping on people in the bathroom, and not much else to say about him. Apparently he had a kid. Kid's father is now. Sucks to suck, I guess. Like, I mean, I don't really know what to say. They've, I don't know. So, what's up, Hades? Yeah, I really like it, Terrence. And Homelander says, the Homelander is a Superman version of the Joker, sadistically maniacal. Yeah, I can agree with that. And what's up, Meta? So yeah, let's talk about A-Train real quick. So A-Train, I really liked A-Train's character in the sense that they really fleshed him out. He is the Flash on the show, basically. and he is a drug addict who had to kill his girlfriend. And I think it cannot be understated that he killed his girlfriend so Homelander wouldn't, because Homelander definitely would have made her suffer. He would have done some crazy shit to make her pay for what she did. But hey, Train's like, okay, we're gonna do a drug overdose. At least that's painless. Homelander would have made it painful, and it's clear that Homelander's like, she's got to go. Either I do it or you do. And A-Train's like, okay. And then, like, after he killed his girlfriend, Popclaw, for betraying him, essentially, he was really upset about it. He was real depressed about it. And you could tell that he actually genuinely loved her, and he was sad that she had to die. So, at the end of the day, man, it's there's a us versus them mentality. And A-Train, he was in a relationship with like a D-list Supe, right? So he couldn't come out with the relationship because Vought wouldn't let him. And he was also dealing with his own stress because there's another speedster coming up, and the speedster's like faster than him. And A-Train's like, if I lose, they're kicking me off. They're gonna get someone else. And so he felt compelled to take drugs, which is Compound V, which is what gives them their powers. And yeah, man, it ended up just being like a real bad time. And it was just unfortunate for all of them. Popclaw, the reason why she betrayed them is because she got caught on camera accidentally murdering a guy during oral sex, and yeah, it was a real bad time for that guy. Like, ugh, but what a way to go, right? So yeah. And the most interesting thing is it all ties back to Homelander. Like, everything ties back to Homelander, and everything from the beginning. So when A-Train, and I heard this from someone else, I can't remember what media source I got it from, but I heard this in a video, and I'm sorry I can't remember who the fuck said it. But in the video, they stated, like, it's interesting to point out that A-Train was running Compound V, and he was on Compound V, and he was running it. There's a possibility he was running it at that time to the terrorists in the other countries at Homelander's behest. And the reason why he ran through Robin was not only because he was on the drug, but because he was doing Homelander's bidding. So it all comes back to the beginning in terms of, how Robin died because of A-Train. And it's all because of the Homelander. And so, yeah, let's talk about my guy, the Homelander. Oh, my God. Let's do this. What's up, Rhodey? What is up? Yeah, let's talk about the I fucking love the Homelander. He is amazing. He's amazing. From his cadence, from the way he carries himself, his suit, his personality. He's amazing. Like, Anthony Starr did such a phenomenal job with this character. I cannot say enough. Like, first of all, he's probably one of my favorite superhero characters ever of all time. He is such a nuanced and dynamic character, even though overall he is a fucking he is scum. Like, he is genuinely trash, but I still love him because he's so maniacal, he's so diabolical, he's so amazing in terms of being a bad guy that I can't help but love him, And he's not like cartoonishly evil, he's just real fucked up. He's real fucked up, bro. And it's like, he's got like, okay, let's talk about Madeline Stillwell for a second. So, like I said before, she's the head of Vought, and she's the one who controls all the Supes. She's got like some kind of fucking weird Oedipus relationship with the Homelander. Shit's fucking weird. And you know what? I called that shit in episode 2. And when he walked in on her and he was like, "Oh, you're like leaking or whatever," or it's like it's so okay. Wait. He was like, "It's so admirable that a woman your age decide to have kids." Super inappropriate comment. First thing I want to say. And then, like, when they're sitting on the couch and she's, like, cupping his face, and he's like, "Oh, you're leaking." And he's got this little smirk, and she's just smiling. She's like, "Oh, I know. It's fine." And it's just, like, I clocked it right then. I was like, oh, yeah, this is, like, some kind of fucking weirdo mommy kink sort of thing. And I was like, listen, show, you don't gotta say anything more. I can see what you're doing here. So he's got, like, because he grew up in such a cold, sterile environment, he had, like, this urge, this need for a mother's love, because he never actually experienced that, and he saw a mother figure in Stillwell, but since he was older, it developed into something like sexual, and really screwed with the dynamics there. And honestly, I blame Stillwell. Like, why would you encourage this kind of relationship? What the fuck is wrong with you? She was like, yeah, I can really control this guy by pretending to be his mom and doing this mommy king shit. And I was like, bro, like, really? But it really shows you how far the Vought Corporation and Stillwell in general will go in terms of trying to control the Supes and do what she got to do to make that bank. I mean, it ended up really not working out for her in the end, which sucks to suck, bitch. But, like, honestly, I don't know what she could have been thinking to think that was a good idea, because it absolutely was fucking not. And, like, she's like, I'm afraid of you. I'm like, were you afraid of him before or after you decided to call him, oh, you're such a good boy, and, like, stick your fucking leaking boob in his mouth? What were you thinking? I don't know, okay? So that shit was fucking weird. It was weird, but you could see that he was, like, really searching for her approval. He wanted her approval so much. And, you know, from the second episode, you could see that he was such a mastermind. And he told Madeline straight up, I'm like, I could be doing so much more, but you don't let me do shit. And, like, he's the one who killed the guy who was, because there was a guy who was blackmailing Madeline, basically. And he's the one who made those terrorists and gave them superpowers. And he's the one who spun the story about why the plane went down. Like, he's so smart and he's so amazing. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, maybe y'all should have given him a little bit of, in terms of, like, I don't know, like, they use the Supes as props, and they prop them up, and they don't let them actually think or use their heads or actually be heroes, and that fucks with people as well. So, you know, all of them were just underestimating the Homelander, and he was just like, I'm not to be underestimated. And how terrible that must have been for him, in the sense that it's like, he doesn't like these people because he feels like he's so much bigger and better than everyone, and he is, and yet he is forced to listen to these mud, like, what is it, mud babies, pockets of mud, bits of flesh and blood, these ants, these bugs that he can crush in a second. Like, he listened to them because he felt compelled to, but he didn't actually have to. And I bet he felt that deep in his heart, that these people are nothing, and yet they are telling me what to do. And it's like when he told that analyst, he was like, I'm the Homelander, and I can do whatever the fuck I want. And I'm like, yeah, yes, he can. You know, he can. And it's like, he does whatever the fuck he wants, and he's amazing. He's amazing. And everyone is in awe of him, and everyone is afraid of him. His ability to act, in terms of him acting as the character, this portrayal that he puts forth in terms of being the Homelander, this Superman, Captain America-esque all-American boy, the fucking flag is your cape sort of thing, the ego, the bald ego is on your shoulder, you got the fucking blue and gold and red, just all American, blonde hair, blue eyes, perfect, right? Perfect encapsulation of American. He's perfect in every way, in the sense, like, his body and how he looks and everything. And he's a smart fucking guy, and he's above everyone, and he's the number one hero, and yet he listened to these bags of flesh who are so beneath him. And eventually he just got to a point where he's like, yo, fuck them kids. Fuck them. I can do whatever the fuck I want. They are nothing. I can spin any of these stories. Like, no one can stop me. So I can do whatever I want. And I love that about him. So, yeah. What's up, Brandon? And Dion said, and don't forget, he's the Homelander 24/7, no secret identity. And, like, yeah. Exactly. You know? Exactly. He has no secret identity. And because he has no secret identity, he can't connect to humanity in that way, because he's always the Homelander. Like how Clark Kent is Clark Kent, and he's also Kal-El, he's also Superman. You know, he makes himself two separate people, the human side of himself, and then the Superman persona. Imagine if Superman was just Superman all the fucking time, and he wasn't connected to humanity in that way. And if we've seen Superman stories where his tie to humanity, which is Lois Lane, gets cut off, and there's different variations and ways it can go. You know, you got Kingdom Come Superman, who loses Lois, and he doesn't like fly off the deep end, but he does lose the piece of himself that makes him feel that he's great, so he kind of feels lost in that regard. And then there's the Injustice Superman, who is tricked into killing his wife and his unborn child, and he flies off the fucking deep end. You know, his tidy humanity is gone, so now he's like a tyrannical dictator, right? And so that's basically like Homelander is Injustice Superman, basically, which is probably why I love him so much, because I fucking love Injustice. So I love the Homelander. He's just like, words cannot express how amazing I find this character, how interesting, how compelling. And when it turns out that he actually has a child, and honestly that was a tipping point for him, because he's always longed to have a family. Honestly speaking, if they had just done a little bit more to, like, you know, really establish ties to humanity, maybe he wouldn't have turned out to be such a fucking nut job. Maybe? Vought? I don't know. But if you really think about it, he is a product of the people who created him. He is Frankenstein's monster, and Frankenstein's monster is only a monster because of Frankenstein. So it's just kind of like, you are created to be this ideal, and you are given no common traits in terms of what it actually is to be a human being, and you take in what's around you, and what was around him was cold nothingness, was white empty space, and he grew up that way, right? With nothing, alone, isolated, scared, cold, confused, nothing. And then he turned out to be a monster. And then the worst part is, the people who were raising him were like, listen, it's fine, whatever. Like, I'm just like sitting here like, so this is the problem with this is the problem with scientists in general, man. This is the problem with scientists. No one ever stops to be like, listen, I know I can do this, but should I? Like, they just do whatever the fuck they want with no ethical boundaries at all. Like, they're just like, you know what, we're just gonna do this, and we're just gonna leave him in this fucking room, and it's fine. I'm like, what were you thinking? What were they thinking? Like, this is what I'm talking about, man. People, they're so goddamn smart, but they're so fucking stupid when it comes to interpersonal relationships, where interpersonal relationships and emotional intelligence are probably some of the most important things in terms of establishing human relationships and human connections, and, you know, raising kids to not be fucking psychopaths. Like, there's that as well, you know? So, yeah. But it turns out the Homelander has a kid, and I feel like the kid's gonna play a big role in season 2, and I'm fucking hyped for it. I'm really excited. Like, this show was amazing, and honestly speaking, I feel like the Homelander really brought it in for me. I loved watching his scenes. Everything about him was just amazing. So it was some good shit. Let me read these comments real quick. Novat said he's worse than Injustice Superman. Injustice Superman killed Shazam, so there's that. Yeah. I'm not sure, actually, Manny. Let's see here. Box Knight says left to right: Supergirl, Green Arrow, Wonder Woman, Superman, Snake Eyes, Black Lightning, Invisible Woman. That's funny. Okay. Neo says, I have a feeling that Compound V is derived from him. And the Not So Great said he only had the blanket to keep him company. Yeah. Dion's like, that's not Green Arrow, that's Aquaman, which is true. Manny's like, his kryptonite was a blanket. Justin says, Homelander has a weakness, but it's so far out left field that it's shocking. And then Terrence says, I cannot wait for season 2. Butcher is dope in Homelander. I think Butcher's wife I don't know, because the show hasn't established yet whether or not she was actually raped by Homelander. I am leaning towards her not having been raped by Homelander, to be honest, based off like how she was acting afterwards. And honestly speaking, if you get raped by someone like him, you're gonna be fucked up. Like, you're not walking out of that room. Okay? All right. So, also, I think it cannot be understated that, like, Homelander was with Madeline for 5 seconds, and, like, he is a one-pump chump, my guy. Like, he was probably in there for 3 hours with Billy's wife, because it kept deflating while, okay, I mean, I said what I had to say. Listen, I'm sorry. But, yeah, you know, whatever. I guess it's possible that she could lean towards Butcher, and I'm sure she did love him, but, I think she cheated on him. And if she didn't, apologies for me talking mad smack about her. I mean, I'm not talking smack about her. I'm just kind of like, damn, that's fucking cold if she actually cheated on him with the Homelander. Which I'm sorry, I would never want to have sex with a Supe. Like, hearing the horror stories, about how that dude got his dick frozen off, I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, nah, I'm good. I wouldn't want to have sex with any of these fucking people. They don't know how to control their powers. They're all a fucking mess, and I don't want anything to do with any of them. So, what's up, Talus? So yeah, that's overall. That's it for me in terms of the boys. Yeah, it was. I mean, yeah, Minuteman, Homelander, Rhodey. That's true. But yeah, that's it for me for the boys. I thought the show was amazing. It was so interesting. It was so in depth. All the characters were so fucking compelling. Madeline Stillwell, she was a great character. R.I.P. R.I.P. bitch. You probably shouldn't have, established that fucking Oedipal relationship. Maybe your ass would still be alive right now. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, sucks to suck. Like I said, she was the head of Vault. She was probably one of the most vile people in terms that she knew what all of them were doing, and she did not give a fuck. She just wanted that fucking 83rd, 84th. I can't even remember what floor number it is. She just wanted that penthouse fucking office. She wanted to take over Vault. She was like, I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do in order to succeed, bitch. And I was like, that is one cold, stone cold bitch. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm with it. But at the same time, damn, sucks to suck. You really died to some dude you were fucking who had like a mommy kink issue. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like that. But yeah, so like I said, really interested to see what they do for next season. I'm super hyped. I hope they get in more with Maeve and Black Noir. But you know what? I'm hoping they save Black Noir for the end of the series, because I'm interested to see what he does more. I love the Homelander, as you guys know. So oh, Dion says Stillwell was Lois and Martha in one. Ugh. What's up, addict? All right, but yeah, we're good with that. I'm gonna skedaddle and head on out there. Thank you to everyone who stopped by to talk with me with this spoiler cast for the boys. Like I said before, I was alone because it was super last minute. And honestly, trying to find people to actually come here and come on my channel and like be engaged and engaging in terms of conversation, it's real hard. Like, it's really hard sometimes, especially since it's so last minute and people are spending time with their families and friends, and not returning my phone calls all day. But I do appreciate everyone who did come out and to hang out with me. You guys are amazing. Scroll back to the beginning if you want the full recap of the series. Clearly, I can just continue talking by myself without anyone involved. I can just start rambling, which I love when that happens for me. I'm like, like, I just keep going in my own minute, so that's great. But overall, I give the series a 9 out of 10. It was fucking fantastic. I don't know if season 2 can top it, to be honest. I'm not worried or anything. I'm just kind of like, how can anything top the greatness that is this? So, thank you, Brandon. I appreciate it. Addict, I didn't know. You just said you're coming through for Scumcast, man. So, and yes, of course, Dion. But yeah. So yeah, you guys, I hope you all have a nice night. To the people who, I guess maybe I'll put it in the comment section, like, oh, the audio was a little, we were struggling a little bit in the beginning, but we ended up figuring it out. Yeah, I think I'll put that in the comment section to people to know. And then leave your comments in the comment section about your thoughts on the boys and your opinions on the boys and your feelings about it and everything, and then your final scores as well. I would love to see further thought and discussion in terms of that in the comment section. And I'll catch, oh yes, thank you, Terrence, and I will catch you guys later. Bye, Justin. Bye, everybody. I hope you all have a nice night.